2020, the year that Earth stood still, a time period regarded as a once in a lifetime event, as COVID 19 affected the body and had a greater impact on social psychology. It serves as a reminder that not all is well. During these long periods of isolation, the number of reported incidents involving mental disorders has skyrocketed. After all, we are social creatures, and our strong ties to the community, mixed with social interactions, is what makes us human. There is no doubt that 2020 was a test. Whether it was natural or man made is currently being explored, but nonetheless, the impacts of 2020 will have reaching implications for years to come. The number one challenge we faced during 2020 came down to whom to trust. Unless you were a doctor, nurse, or someone in a health profession, the chances that you experience large groups of apparent infected individuals were very low. Therefore, your own experiences did not match up with the impressions that the media foretold. This left us with two choices. Do we believe in what we see or what we are told? Besides, most of technology today is beyond the comprehension of most people. The same can be said about nature. Basically, there's more to life than what meets the eye. It is impossible to verify the validity of what transpires in everyday life. Therefore, we rely on science, but more importantly, we trust the people that work in the specified fields. However, although science is objective, people are naturally biased in one way or another. Therefore, we must trust that the individuals who are acting in accordance with scientific methodologies have self-scrutinized their own biases and put away any preconceived notions. Next, the scientific method calls for peer review to replicate the same results under a set of controlled circumstances. This is to ensure that the results are independent. However, according to the study of psychology, accomplishing this task is very hard to do, since like minds tend to agree the majority of the time. It's called the group mentality, and under high levels of stress, studies show that the group will tend to follow the opinion of the most dominant figure. Therefore, it's important to gain a basic understanding of matters that we find are most important to us, at least to the extent that we know enough to ask the right questions. With all the things that occurred in 2020, some people are experiencing this strange phenomenon as if 2020 never occurred, a sense of lapse in time. In fact, the last thing that some people can recall is the cold weather during the beginning of the pandemic. However, even during the summer season, people will still get this weird sensation that the temperature would still be cold outside before actually heading outdoors. Even stranger, lots of people have been reporting a distorted sense of time. Now, psychologists say that our experience with time is shaped by our activities and emotions. However, while this may explain why some people may experience time as moving fast and slow, it doesn't account for why people would outright skip days at a time. Whereas you go to sleep on Monday night, but you wake up on Wednesday morning with no clue on how this occurred. What makes this even more bizarre is when multiple people are experiencing the same type of time distortion. In 2020, the Royal Astronomical Society published its research report about a massive star that is 2.5 million times brighter than the sun. Somehow just vanished. The star is located in another galaxy, and its massive size allowed astronomers to pinpoint the individual star apart from the stars that lie in that galaxy, something that is nearly impossible to do. Although scientists are coming up with some possible explanations, at the root of it all, they fall short to explain how such a massive star could just vanish in a matter that is void of a feasible explanation. To put this into perspective, imagine if the Empire State Building just disappeared overnight without any evidence of the building crumbling or exploding. Basically, no signs of debris can be found anywhere. Something this massive will require a significant amount of time to move. So what are we missing here? So what does all of this have to do with a master reset? Well, There's an old saying: a stallion must first be broken before it can reach its potential. In other words, in order to change society, you must change the mindset of the people. It's a conditioning aspect. Whom we trust, our perception of time, and the idea that massive things can just disappear without a trace are all examples of how we interpret the world around us. And when things don't fit into our framework, we tend to impose what we believe the ending should look like. After all, the days of the week are just systematic ways in which we track time, and not something we need to really worry about. It's interesting that the moment we started tracking time coincided with the high levels of anxiety that we faced over the centuries. Statistically speaking, Mondays are perceived as the most stressful day of the week, while we look forward to Fridays, which brings me back to the point of time dilations. Whether you think today is Monday or Tuesday is irrelevant. After all, time is a construct. In fact, what you do with your time today is more important than what day it is. I often wonder, 100 years from now, will people look back at our time with a sense of pity, similar to how we perceive the past? Where our ancestors struggled just to stay alive, we struggle to find meaning and purpose in our everyday lives. For this to happen, a great shift in our mindset would first need to occur. The year 2020 was indeed a hard year, but it served a purpose. It reminded us of how fragile life is and how short our time truly is. In fact, it's almost tragic if we don't reflect back from time to time. After all, mankind's greatest triumphs occurred during our darkest moments. Thanks for watching. Please consider supporting the channel by hitting the like button and subscribing.